Hey everybody, this is Mr. Carnes, and today we're going to be looking at all about flowcharts. We'll be learning how to make them, what they are, what they consist of, and why they're important. So to start out, a flowchart is a diagram that explains your code using ovals, rectangles, and diamonds. This is not something that I just made up and am getting you guys to use. It's actually a very popular way of explaining information, and it's usually used by engineers or electrical engineers uh, or computer scientists typically. So you'll usually use these. The reason that you use these is because it explains your code. So if you wanted to explain what your program or app or a certain function within your app does, you would need to write it out in a flowchart for it to be pretty easy to understand to other people. So to do this, what you would want to do is start your program with an oval and end your program with an oval. There will always be at least two of these because there's always a beginning and there's always an end to a program. Then the second shape that you would use to display information is a rectangle, and you generally will have quite a few of the rectangles. They're just the commands that are happening inside of the program. For instance, well, I'll show you guys an example of this here in a second. The third is a conditional statement, and it's the shape of a diamond, and it usually has yes or no type answers inside of it. So that's probably not the most helpful thing to know if you've never made one. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And you all should follow along and go ahead and open up this um, website here in a minute. First, let's actually take a look at this example and try to decipher it and answer some of the questions about it. And this is located in 1.4 in your PLTW notebook if you wanted to check it out yourself. And again, it's telling us that the beginning and end are an oval. A command is a rectangle. Decision or a conditional statement, whatever you want to call it there, like an if statement, if you've taken key coding last year, is a rhombus. I would call that a diamond. Okay. A moving to the next step is indicated by an arrow. That's something that I guess I left out on accident. Um, but explore this example of a conditional algorithm. An algorithm is just a series of steps with instructions for traveling to school. For this flowchart, answer the following questions. What is the conditional question being asked? The conditional question being asked is the one inside the rhombus or diamond. And so that question would be, is it raining? That is the conditional question. And you can see here what I was talking about earlier, that there's a yes and a no coming out of that. Um, is it raining? That's going to have a yes or no answer. Okay. There's not going to be three answers to that. If you said maybe, then I don't really think that that would apply to this question. And you should probably avoid those types of conditions. Um, Now, B asks us, what happens if it is raining? So is it raining? If it is raining, you would go to the yes option and you would follow this arrow and it tells you to ride the bus. So if it is raining, we want to ride the bus. He asks us what happened if it is not raining. We're just going to follow this opposite train of thought here. Then we're going to be walking to school. Walk to school. So simple enough, right? We're going to make a little bit more complex ones than this, but it's a pretty good example to start off. The website I want you guys to go to now is called draw.io. Draw.io, not slither.io. And create a new diagram is what we're going to click on here. And we're just going to start out with a basic blank diagram. There is an option for a flowchart in here. Well, let's just start blank. And you're going to be using this uh, somewhat often, so maybe just be prepared for that. The file name is going to be flowchart, and we're just going to save it in our documents folder or downloads folder, whichever you prefer. That way we can open it up for later. And your first step is to go ahead and start out with an oval or ellipse in this. So you just click that and it pops it up. There's some grid lines that tell you the exact middle of the page where that's located. Um, if you double click inside of this, you can actually start typing. I'm going to write the word start program, and you guys should probably do the same for all of yours as well. And I'm going to put another one in there at the bottom of the page that says in program. Now the example I'm going to use to show you how this works is making a sandwich. Okay. You guys are going to have to do something different than that. You're going to have to make a flowchart of something completely different than making a sandwich. It's got to be totally different than that. Uh, Also, don't use the example that we looked at earlier with this. Is it raining type thing? So to start off, first step of making a sandwich would be, and in order to get that rectangle in there, I just click this first shape on the left side, double click on the inside of it, double click on the inside of it, and your little cursor pops up. And our first step is to get the bread out, I guess. You do not have to make this, by the way. I'm just making this to show you how it works. Um, Next step you're going to want to do is if you just kind of hover over your circle here, there's actually a down arrow, and you can just click that and drag it and then connect it to each shape that you want it to connect it to. And it actually can do odd things like this too. So you can kind of put these rectangles wherever you want, and the cool thing is you can actually move them afterwards. So for now, I'm going to try to leave this in a straight line, but pretty cool. Um, you can actually right click these and duplicate them as well, which is kind of helpful. I'll do that one time just to show you that you can do that. The next step is going to be, and I'm going to go ahead and connect it. We don't want to get the bread out anymore. We want to put meat, well, let's say, um, hmm, let's make it, put, okay, if it's my sandwich, I'm putting mustard on the sandwich. Put mustard on the bread. And then we want to go ahead and put a diamond in there, and that's going to be where we're going to put our conditional statement. So let's go ahead and connect this. There, now it's right in the middle. And let's make this a conditional statement, turkey or ham. And then we'll add 2 rectangles in there on either side. And here is where we're going to ask if we want turkey or ham. We're going to have to put 2 different arrows coming out to connect to these, because a conditional statement always has 2 arrows coming out of it, at least. To actually put in turkey or ham on this, you can actually just click on the arrow and then start typing. I'm going to put turkey on that left side, ham on the right side, and it looks really nice, and it just kind of puts it in there for you. And then if you selected turkey, obviously you're going to put turkey on the sandwich. Same over here, except ham. Put ham on the sandwich. You guys are probably starting to see how this works. Let's just make this a little easy and go ahead and end the program there. Sometimes it does this, and you can actually move the arrow to where you want it. So if the arrow is not lining up, this looks really bad because we can't tell where this arrow is, like it's going 2 different directions. So just hover your mouse over it like that, and you can just change that. So here is our entire program. And if you read this start to finish, it says, get the bread out. These are just steps. Put the mustard on the bread. Then we're down to a conditional statement. So you kind of have to pick which one. Do we want turkey or ham? Say I want turkey today. I'm going to put turkey on the sandwich if I select turkey. And then in program, um, If you don't want to be as formal, you could put something like "eat the sandwich" because that's technically the end of the program. Um, when you get this completely finished, go ahead and click on File. Even if you don't get it completely finished, you want to go ahead and save it. But go to File. You want to export as a PNG. Export, which means you're taking it off your computer and putting it somewhere else, as a PNG, and we want it to just stay all the same. Export it, and you want to export it to your device. It'll download. When you open it up, looks really nice. And if you guys want, you can actually change the color of these. I would highly recommend, if you're going to do this, make all of the same shapes the same color, um, kind of like this. This tends to look really nice. Make sure you save everything always, and go ahead and when you're completely done with it, go back into Canvas and make sure that you uh, submit the PNG file that you just saved. So on yours, you're going to be making the same type of thing. It's got to have at least four. Let's make it like six. I'll put the instructions on your Canvas. So just check out your Canvas, and I'll have it on there. Thanks, guys. Have a great morning.